Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
We welcome into the studio this morning Kathy Spiers, who is our advocate here for the chair of the Kapiti Health Advocacy Group, who is encouraging community organisation groups and individuals to make a submission on this very important consultation document. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning, Nigel.
Now, what's this very important document that we should be well versed in? Because it's quite a serious topic, isn't it?
Totally, yes.
Yeah.
And governments are always doing strategies and inquiries, but this one is really important. It's around the government doing this inquiry into mental health and finding out from our communities what is working well, what's not working so well, and where are the gaps. So it's very important that people at grassroots level, people in their own homes, not just the people who are funded by the government to provide the services, but it's also the consumer of these services and having access to them. So what they're talking about is they're looking at the funding, the governance and accountability, workforce planning. They're doing some data collection, design and delivery of services, and I think the important one here is the delivery of services, because quite often it's trying to access that service when the need arises. It's like if you're a young person on a weekend or halfway through the night and I'm feeling isolated, alone, depressed, whatever, who do I ring? Where do I go? It's very difficult. And
so what services have we got here for that now?
Well, Kapiti Youth Support, thank goodness we have them here. They're open during the daytime and that. But they've got a mental health line that you can text. But when you're in a mental health state, you don't think of where do I look for a phone number. So I would encourage people to, the text number is 1737, to put it on your cell phone, and when you're feeling a bit down, to give it a call, to text or to ring. But it's and in Kapiti we have not got adequate services for acute cases.
Right. Is that getting bigger and bigger, is it?
It is, absolutely. Recently there was a case where a person was depressed and suicidal, called the ambulance because it wasn't their concern, went to a GP service, waited 3 hours, then had to go into Wellington to the crisis team.
Goodness.
So it's we need improved access to these types of services when they're needed, not 3 or 4 hours later.
No, that's right. So is this what age group? We're looking at teenagers right through to the...
Right through, absolutely right through, yes. And we're even doing the health groups, going into the primary schools at the moment, just seeing how the public health nurses system's working in the schools. And we're finding coming through that there are truants from school and there's no support, and they need counsellors in the schools for young children. And I feel that this is where we need to get them when they're young, because they start off being truanting, then they grow up and they get into trouble, and then they get into drugs, and it leads to mental health services. So we need to take care of our young children. So
it's getting down to the grassroots of this problem.
Yes.
So that could be in the home, as you say, school, but home would probably be the start of it, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, and yes. But that's why I'm trying to encourage people in their own homes who have had, anxieties, depression, anything, just put in a submission to the inquiry. The Mayor did write to Ron Patterson from the inquiry in February. They registered our interest. So we're still hoping to get them up to Kapiti for a public meeting. The formal submissions close on the 5th of June, but there is still time after that to put in submissions, I understand. So we're hoping that within that time frame that we can get them up here to Kapiti and have a public meeting.
So we've got support groups here at the moment that
yes,
people can go along to?
Oh yes, we have, there's a mental health team at the Kapiti Health Centre.
Yeah.
We've Atareia doing a wonderful job here. There's Te Ara Kaurawai in Raumati Beach. They lost a lot of their funding, who provide an excellent service for daytime for people to support and socialise. Excellent service. So there are groups in the community, but as I said, when you're in a mental state, it's, where do you look? You can't your brain's not in that space to look in the phone book for a number.
So do the colleges advertise these helplines or
I'm
whatever?
sure they do, yes. Kapiti Youth Support do have nurses going into the secondary schools.
Oh, right, okay.
So, yeah, so we're concentrating on the primary schools at the moment. But as we go along, we're finding out, different things more and more. It's like when they call the ambulance, it's brought up another issue of, what the relationship between the ambulance and people who are, depressed and suicidal and that.
Yeah,
how does that process work? Yes.
There is a difference, I can see
Yes,
that. And of course, ambulance people think, well, no, that's not really my territory.
That's right.
Or I haven't got the skills or whatever, I don't know.
Yes. So that's something else we can look at and find out, well, what is that relationship? And just get the message out to people where to go and who to see. So.
Now, there's a charity here called Whirlwind. Is that still...
Oh, yes, Martin Sloman, yes. And 76% of suicides are male. And Martin runs a wonderful men's group.
Right.
And it's, men's health is really, really important. And it's...
So how would they know about this, like Martin?
Yes, it's just working through, I guess, through the GPs and
right.
Yeah.
So GPs do refer
people on.
Oh,
yes,
right, okay.
Yes. But sometimes it's like having the barriers up, like, it's waiting times and how long does it take to get there. Young people, when they go to Kapiti Youth Support, they tell their story once and then they're referred on. So what we need to have happen at Kapiti Youth Support is so when they go there once, they're seen to in the first visit, and they don't have to go away and come back again. So
you need some support, with experienced people at Kapiti Youth Support, do you?
Yes,
all the time.
Yes,
them,
that's right. But it's having that service there at that time that it's needed.
Yeah. So that needs funding, I suppose.
Absolutely, and I'm not sure if they had any more funding this year, but they hadn't had any increase in their mental health funding since 2008.
Right.
So,
I'm just thinking wider afield with these poor old farmers at the moment. So
devastating.
Mental health is going to be, really tough for the services, and we just don't have those people out there to help.
No, that's right. I'm from a farming background, so I hear what they're saying, and that's devastating for them.
That's right. So what are we going to do in these submissions? Put in a submission, have we?
Yes, just write in a submission. The address and everything's in the paper today.
All right.
The details.
Yep. Mental health at inquiry.govt.nz.
Yes, that's the one.
Or post to Mental Health and Addiction Inquiry. And it's got the address for that too.
Yes,
I'll give that out.
And there's a phone number there as well.
A phone number, yes, 0800 644 678.
So if if people know of anybody or in their family, we need to act now. It's an opportunity to say that we need improved access to mental health services in Kapiti.
Right. And of course, this happens right throughout New Zealand, I suppose. Is the government keen? They've been talking about mental health for ages, haven't they?
I know.
Are they doing anything about funding these services?
See, I was criticised recently about, with our health group, many people that come talk about funding, but that's what it's all about, because it's not all about that, but it's maybe around. Now the government's doing this rejig or whatever they're doing, this inquiry into all the district health boards. So I think it's about spending the money wiser and smarter use of funding.
So we've got the professionals out there to fill these spaces if there was funding?
Well, I'm hoping so.
Yes.
But as I said, if we started our young children, just hold their hand and be friends with them. It's like if you're a student in a classroom, you might be sitting there feeling really, really depressed, but you don't know that the person sitting next to you might be feeling exactly the same.
Right.
So it's just reaching out to people, really.
We can say social media's got a lot to do with this, hasn't it? Unfortunately.
Gosh, yes.
Nowadays we didn't have social media.
No.
Well, now it's bullying on there and pressure on the kids themselves.
Yes.
I'm thinking of kids mainly, but it becomes more mature people too who get this problem.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And it's but I think we're creatures of, our upbringing and where
Fair
we're
enough.
from. So.
All right, Kathy, so now's the time to get those submissions in. Now, what happens? The submissions go in and...
Oh, yes, and they report back to the government in October.
All right. And
evidently it would be, my understanding is it'll be in the funding round in Budget 2020.
Right.
And something needs to come out of it.
Sure.
But we need something to come out of it, so that's why it's really important to put in your submission. And we do our best to... bring the mental health team up here as well.
Great. If anybody wants to talk further about it, because they might want to talk confidentially, will you talk to them?
Absolutely.
You got a phone number or something,
yes.
cell phone number or whatever?
027
Yep.
363
Yep.
5416.
5416. So you can help them through the process of submissions.
Absolutely.
Or just to they might want to get some ideas.
Yeah, or refer them on to
sure.
somebody who can help.
Good on you. Well, Kathy, I hope it goes well. You'll keep us up to date with the submission rates going in and what's the outcome.
Will do.
Good
Yes, absolutely.
Kathy Spiers here. She's the chair of the Kapiti Health Advocacy Group.
106.3 Beach FM.